welcome or welcome back. My name is Sarah. Today I want to talk a little bit about Hobonichi season, and obviously it's the hot topic right now in the journaling and planning community in YouTube. So to be honest, I've had some mixed feelings during the month. On the one hand, I've really enjoyed it and I thought it was really exciting, and if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I'm like quite new to Hobonichi. I only really discovered them this year, so yeah, it was kind of like my first time, you know, following their preview and all that stuff. But I also had some more, I don't know, not so exciting thoughts and more negative. I don't know if negative is, you know, too strong of a word, but basically, yeah, I'm not even going to be talking about issues around you know, the paper, or you know, how Hobonichi address it, or you know, the increased prices, or you know, not offering free shipping, or you know, any of that stuff. If you want to hear a bit more about like all the issues that were with Hobonichi, Helena from Tiny Tiger Co, she made like an excellent video, so I link it kind of like in the cards or also like in the description. And you know, you can go and watch her video. She explains all of that way more eloquently than I could ever. But the thing that I really didn't like was, and this is not exclusive to Hobonichi, you know, many brands do it, but it's kind of like a scarcity marketing. So it's like really leaning into, these are limited editions, things are going to sell out, you won't be able to get them, you know, create, like really leaning into the scarcity mindset, and like, you know, FOMO, the fear of missing out, and like, you know, creating this sense of urgency that like, you know, you need to get things and you need to get them right now. Because otherwise you won't be able to get them, which is, I mean, again, it's the first year I'm following them. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they will restock most things at least once, like closer to the end of the year or something. So yeah, I don't really think it's like that true, but I don't know, I might be wrong. Like I said, it's my first time following it. But the other thing that I didn't like is how it's so early in the year. And you know, I was thinking about this before I watched Job's journal video. If you've not watched it, I'll also link it. But basically he was talking how like his sister was saying like, why are we having like the launch for like things that we'll be using in 2026 like now, like we're only barely halfway through the year, like we still have a quarter of the year left. That is something that I didn't really like. I mean, again, this is not exclusive to Hobonichi either. It's like I was going to the supermarket in the middle of August, we were in the middle of a heat wave, and they already had the autumn decor, and I'm like, no, don't steal me my summer. And also we're in the middle of a heat wave. Just seeing the pumpkins is making me even more warm. Like, I don't want this now. I love it, but wait until September at least. I mean, I've seen some pictures or something of people like, they're in some shops, they already have like Christmas decoration. Like, things are getting out of hand. So yeah, it's kind of the same. I mean, I don't know if there is a reason why, like, you know, Hobonichi and other companies have their previews in August. I don't know if there is some sort of like tradition that I don't know about. But partially, and this was just me like, you know, making theories up, was like, was this maybe like a period in the year that was quieter for them for sales, in the sense of like, yeah, most people will buy their planners and that kind of stuff at the end of the year or the beginning of the year, and maybe like in the middle they were like, oh, we need to create an event. I mean, I have no idea. Again, there might be some sort of tradition in Japan or something that I don't know about, and that's the reason why it's in August. But yeah, it just felt super early. And the thing is, okay, I like to think about my lineup for next year all the time. You know, it's one of my favorite things to journal about. I overthink it and I'm like, oh, what am I gonna be using? But the thing with this is, it's almost like forcing people to having to make a decision about something that they're not going to be using for another 4 months. And it's like, if you're anything like me, by the time January arrives, you've probably had like 10 different ideas of what your lineup should look like. So, you know, like that was part of it. And it's like, obviously, again, this is not exclusive to Hobonichi. It's kind of like how, you know, companies have this need to, like, you know, make us think about what do we need next? What do we want? What to want next? You know, like, rather than just being content with what we have right now, enjoying what we're using right now. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, again, it's so early in the year that you might change your mind. But focusing a bit more on the positive things now, I guess. It was so exciting at the same time. Like, I think I've mentioned it before, probably, but I'm not a morning person. I really struggle to get up in the morning and all that stuff. And, you know, it was giving me an excuse to wake up, as sad as that sounds, but it was like one of the highlights of my day to, like, wake up and look at my phone and be like, oh, what are they going to announce today? I think, like, this staggered kind of like preview, it's genius and it's really good marketing, and it made me feel like a kid again. Like, almost like, you know, maybe on your birthday you would wake up and, like, you know, your parents would have put your present, or I guess not so much Christmas in my family, because in Spain, like, there is also this tradition of the 3 wise men, if you don't know. So that was kind of like the big thing with my parents. It was like, oh, what presents I'm gonna get, or kind of like a really nice advent calendar. You know, it felt like those kind of things. So yeah, I basically, like, you know, so to, like, conclude this part of more like my thoughts and my mixed feelings, is like, I really want to participate in this excitement, because I did think it was really exciting and I really enjoy looking at, like, you know, all the designs and, you know, thinking what things I'm gonna get and all that stuff. But also, like, I also don't want to, like, contribute to, like, overconsumption and, you know, encourage people to spend more than they can afford, or create this sense that, like, you need these things and you need them right now, or anything like that. Because, again, it's like, you don't need to decide what you're going to be using 4 months down the line, 5 months down the line. You don't need to do that now. You can wait, and there's going to be plenty of options for you when you are, like, ready to you know, make your shopping, basically. Obviously, at the same time, I'm not judging anyone that, you know, is going to be purchasing lots of things. I think, like, as long as you can afford it and, you know, you don't feel any shame around it, it's fine. In general, like, overconsumption, I don't think it's a problem of individuals. I think it's a systemic problem, and it's obviously capitalism and, like, all that stuff. Again, Tiny Tiger Co. has a really good video about overconsumption and, like, you know, all the different aspects about it. And yeah, I'll link this other video from her again, because I think she addresses it way better than I could. But yeah, I didn't want to, like, kind of contribute to, like, you know, make anyone feel like they need to make these decisions right now, or purchase on the 1st of September and all that stuff. And to be honest, like, at some point I was almost, like, quite grumpy, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy on the 1st. And it was just almost out of, like, a stubbornness, when it's like, well, if you know for sure there are certain things that you're going to be using, there is also no need to postpone, you know, making your purchase or buying the things you like or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to, like, I don't know if it's really, like, tips, but just, you know, some things that I hope they help you during this time. So something for me that I kind of, like, try to keep in mind, it's, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And obviously, this is not to say that there is no room for, like, experimenting with things. I think there is, but, like, even if you want to experiment with something, you should be like sure. You know, maybe you get it and it doesn't work, but you should be like certain that it's like, okay, I want to try this thing. The other thing that really helped me, it's printing things, and not just like printing them small to like put them in my journal, but also like printing them kind of like real size. I did this with the weeks because I was between these kind of like 4 designs, and I'll talk a bit more about them when I am kind of like talking about like the different designs. But like that way you can really like see in like real size and like, okay, how is this gonna feel? I even put it like in my weeks, like in my cover, and so I could like see it, how I would feel about it, and it really helped me. And yeah, there's like kind of like that like physicality of things. I saw that Little Coco Studio, and they also made a video recently, and they had printed all the little things as well. And I was like, oh, I did the same. I don't know, I was excited to see it. I also saw, again, Helena from Tiny Tiger Co. like drawing the things. Again, I had done this before her video or anything, but like I draw here the kind of like the horizontal notebook with this same design from Kyohei Sakaguchi. So that's something that can also help you, because maybe like, you know, you're kind of like slowing down and you're like making your wish list and that kind of stuff. But then again, like the main thing is like, don't rush it. Like there is no need to buy on September 1st. There is no need to decide what you want now. Now, am I a hypocrite because I am going to be buying on September 1st? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I was saying it before, but I almost decided not to buy on launch day, just kind of like because of being stupid and being like, no, you won't make me. But yeah, I think like I'm not opposed, you know, to it, and I will be buying on the date. And yeah, if you know what you want to get, I think it's fine. But you know, as if you still have doubts, or you know, are going into it with like this sense of like urgency, or like feeling anxious, or like panic buying or something like that, maybe it's better for you to wait and like calm down, because it, you know, kind of like give yourself the time to like, okay, there's no urgency, there's no pressure, I can wait. The other thing, it's make a plan of what you want, of what you want, what you need. Set certain limits, especially like, you know, if you're not super wealthy. I'm certainly not. You know, maybe set yourself a budget and like commit to like not overspend and like that kind of stuff. Just because we like something doesn't mean we have to buy it. You know, we can appreciate it from afar, and that's okay too. And again, I think as long as you can afford it, as long as you don't feel any shame about like the things you've bought, like, you know, don't feel like, oh my god, I'm like overspending and like that kind of stuff, I think it's fine to experiment with a format you've not used before, and it might not work, but if you're curious about it, it's okay to try it too. But at the same time, like, try to be honest with yourself, and you know, think about like your like journaling habits. So I don't know, like maybe you like 5 designs of the weeks, but are you going to maintain like 5 journals that you have to fill in daily? Maybe that's not realistic for you and for your life. So, you know, try to keep things like realistic as well. And on this topic, I saw a video from, I think it's Beatrice journals. I'm not sure where they're from, but yeah, they have a video about like a journaling questionnaire. I've not done it, but I watched the video and I thought it was very good, so I might do that in a future video or something. Again, everything will be linked either in the cards or in the description, so you can know what I'm talking about. But then I also saw some people, like I think it was My Dandelion Diaries and probably some others, doing like a mind map for their 2026 kind of like journals. I did a bit of a combination of different things. I did some sort of mind map, but I also was writing about like, you know, all the different options of things that I want to try. I created a document in Notion for myself, kind of like with all the different options that I was considering and kind of like trying to decide which one was the one that appealed to me the most. And yeah, just with like some questions to help me kind of like narrow things down. And yeah, I'm happy to share that kind of stuff in a future video, but maybe that's something we can discuss later in the year. So I wasn't sure if I should share some of my thoughts on my lineup for next year, or I should just keep that for a future video. I think I'm going to touch on it, but briefly, because I might change my mind, you know. I have certainly done it many times during the year. But yeah, something that... But yeah, one of the things that I wasn't sure about was whether or not I wanted to have a Hobonichi Cousin for next year, because to be honest, like, it's, you know, it's working really well for me. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, I have some days that maybe I don't journal. I mean, it's the 30th today, and I didn't journal the last 3 days, but I usually like go back and then end up like filling those pages with something else. Not so much backfilling, but maybe just someday I write more. Like, for example, like one day, a couple of days I didn't write, but then I filled like 2 pages and a half or something. So yeah, I'm not using it like every single day, but it's still like working very well for me, and most pages have something. So I was really enjoying it, but at the same time, because it's kind of like the year that I'm like discovering, like, you know, many brands and many like formats that I've never tried before, that I hadn't heard about. There are still a lot of things that I want to try, and I was actually like putting that in, I think it was here, no, here. Yeah, so here I was kind of like writing all the different things that I still wanted to try, and kind of like considering like, well, if I buy a Cousin and I wanted to get like the one for the whole year, then it means that I can't try those other things that I want to try, or it means that I have to abandon my Cousin for periods of time, which is also something that I wouldn't want to do. So that was kind of like one of the main decisions that I made, that it was like, okay, I'm not going to be buying a Hobonichi Cousin, and you know, if when I'm trying other things I really miss it, I can always like get one that starts in April, or get what I did this year, which was the second part of the ABEC, so the one that starts in July. So yeah, those are things that I could always, you know, do if I see that I really miss the Cousin. I think like for me, what I enjoy the most is the layout. I've said it before, but it kind of like encourages me to be playful, and, you know, to put like different things in the pages, and like, you know, write in different directions, and like all that stuff that maybe I've not felt so much with other notebooks. So, you know, there's a big chance that I might miss it, and, you know, I might want to go back to it. The other thing though is that like I can't ignore the dated pages, but I do feel like I prefer if I'm journaling in the date that it is, basically. So I don't know, for me it would be ideal if the day 3 had more pages, because I think it's only like 187 or something, and I feel I would need some more. I don't think that would be enough. Something I want to do at the end of the year is kind of like count how many pages I've written, to see like, okay, what kind of notebook, if I wanted to just have a notebook, what kind of notebook would I need? But anyway, so yeah, I basically decided that I wasn't going to get a Cousin, and then that I still want to experiment with different formats. So that's something that kind of like I am going to be doing, and some things are going to be staying the same. I'll show you now, but then some others are going to change, and some others are going to change immediately, and some others will change from like, you know, January 2026. So in terms of like what is going to stay the same, it's going to be my Hobonichi Weeks, obviously a new one, but I really enjoy this. This is kind of my daily journaling and life planner. North Star is the fancy word, the fancy title that I gave it. Just stolen from Erin Ware. But yeah, that's gonna stay. Then something that I included recently was kind of like TN passport. This is a bit of a DIY. I'm waiting for my love and trip kind of like TN passport to arrive. Like, my family got it for my birthday in July, but it wouldn't arrive until October. So anyway, this has been working really well. Again, I'll show you these things more in detail another time, because I don't want this video to be extremely long, and I'm sure it already, like, it will be, but not even longer. So that's the other thing that has been working well, and it's going to stay the same. And I will continue having this little notebook as a common place for kind of like books that I read around, like Marxism. As you can see, I've not even started it yet, so I can't say it's working well, but I've just not been reading. So we'll see. You know, it's just a notebook, so it will be there for when I need it. Then some changes that are going to be kind of like immediate changes. I have completely abandoned my journal of joy. I've just realized that, like, I can only really have, I think, like one main, like, daily journal type of thing, and then something where I can expand if I want to. But yeah, this has just not been working, and I am going to abandon it basically, and I'll be using this for another thing. Not this year, but next year probably. Then the other thing is, if you've watched any of my videos before, you know I had this like TN standard insert for my private journaling. I've decided to actually divide my private journaling into 2 journals, and that's going to be from like now, which is these 2. This is a Muji, very cheap notebook. I was feeling bad. I know these ones are cheap too, but it just felt like, basically I was coming here when I just needed to shout and when I was angry, and it just felt like I was destroying this beautiful paper. And I'm kind of feeling now the same about this, because even though it's cheap, this is also a really nice notebook. But anyway, this is going to be for when I'm angry. I have 2 options for the title for this, either Angry Letters or Gremlin Journal. Let me know which one you like best. And then this is my other kind of like private journaling, that it's going to be more for when I'm like feeling basically more things that have hurt me, or you know, when I feel like hurt or depressed, or things from my past, that kind of stuff. So because I just felt it was like 2 very different type of journaling. One, I just need to kind of like write big and like whatever, and then the other one I'm feeling more kind of shut down maybe, or more like, you know, small, and I want something that feels like really kind of comforting and almost like a hug, which the A6 gives me. So I've not started to use them, but you know, these ones are just to use as and when I need them basically. Then in terms for the things that I want to include from next year, one of them, I've decided to call it like a memory album, because it makes me think about like a photo album. But I guess it's basically what I've been doing in my weekly section. So I want to have more of like a, kind of like a weekly recap that is a bit more visual with the main things that happened that week. I'm gonna try to have more of like a positive like tone in it. Like, you know, it doesn't need to be all like happy and whatnot, but you know, more like light-hearted, more something that I would grab and like, you know, look at it with a friend or something, or just me, but you know, just kind of like the sweet memories and that kind of stuff. And yeah, so I want to have kind of like the weekly kind of like recaps in this kind of way there, but also maybe like, you know, if there is some big day, you know, so I can, some big event or something like that, then I can have it in there too. And then the last thing, it's what I'm really like doing at the moment, kind of like in my daily pages in the Cousin, which would be kind of more like daily reflections, musings type of journal, that kind of thing, things that I'm interested in. And for that, it's where I want to like allow myself to like experiment with different formats. And what I've decided, you know, in the topic of trying to reduce overconsumption, I'm just going to be using the notebooks that I currently have. So I'm going to be using this TN insert because I'm curious about like the TN format, and I was even considering would I like a TN system for next year and stuff. So I want to try it and see how I like it. I think I'm more of like an A5, you know, girl. But I want to try that. I bought this like super cute life notebook like it's like an A6 and it has like red grid, so I think that was really fun. So I'm gonna be using this. I will be repurposing my A6 because yeah, I think again I'll wrap this up in like a different video and explain kind of like some of the options that I thought about it, but I think I'm just going to abandon it and use it next year. And then I have one of these Midori A5 grid notebooks that I also want to use. It doesn't have all the pages because I was using it for other stuff, but I ripped those off. So yeah, I'm basically just going to be using the stuff that I have, and then when I, you know, finish all this, I can decide what I want, what I want to buy, if I need to buy anything. So those are kind of like my thoughts for like next year in terms of my lineup. Now I wanted to talk a bit about, you know, some of the things during the preview that caught my eye. So first of all, it was from like their colors lineup. I really like this like strawberry, you know, milk wicks, and I thought it would be super fun paired with the kind of like the plastic cover, like clear cover from Keiko Shibata, like the dog ears fluttering in the wind or something. I thought some of the covers as well, like from the colors, were really cute. I really like, I might put it somewhere in the screen, but the Avery Flamingo or the Butterscotch one, I thought all of them were super nice, but I'm not going to be getting any of that stuff. I thought the Moomin collection was again like so nice, but I'm like, it's just not for me. Like I've never watched Moomin or like read the books or anything, so I have like no connection with it. I thought it was really nice, but yeah, not for me. One of the main things that did kind of like, you know, caught my eye and was, you know, I was considering, is this going to be kind of like in my lineup next year? Am I gonna buy this? Was the Kyohei Sakaguchi kind of like Weeks. It quickly became like, you know, a big like favorite. But the thing is, like, for my weeks this year, I wanted something that was more fun, something that would bring me more like joy. And I think like this, you know, brings me joy, but in a different way. Like it transmits me like a lot of calm and like almost a sense of nostalgia and that kind of thing. And even though I love it, it wasn't kind of like the vibe that I wanted for my weeks. At the beginning, I didn't pay too much attention to the A5 like horizontal notebook, but I've decided I'm gonna be buying that one, and I'm gonna be using it for the kind of like memory album that I was talking about. And then, you know, if it doesn't work and I don't like that kind of format, it can just be a notebook that I use for my kind of main long form journaling. So I'm gonna be getting that. That's one of the things. Then the next thing that they announced that I really like was the Too Light, like Weeks design. I really like how like bright it was. I really like that like the cover, the oh my god, I always forget how this is called. The spine and the back cover, that they all had like a different shade. So this is like a bright red, this is like a kind of like hot pink, and then it's like a, I don't know, salmon pink, pastel pink, something like that. So I really like that one too. Then with the Yumi Kitakishi, I was, to be honest, it was one of the things that I was like the most excited to see, because I don't know if you've seen it, but like I have, you know, the A5 cover from well, this year I guess. But yeah, I was a bit, I don't know, it didn't really speak to me. Like I don't love that it's like the black background, and then the fact that it's like all very modular, so it's kind of like all looks the same, like there isn't like different kind of like sizes for the different elements and like a focal point or anything like that. Again, I'm nitpicking, okay, like I need to do that in order to decide what I want to get, because I'm only getting 1 week. I like a bit better the A6 cover. I think like a lot of people have mentioned the, how are these called, like the butterfly loops, basically this part where you can put the pen. I think those are super cute, and I like that it has like different sizes and stuff. I still think the one from this year was probably cuter. I really love the bookmark, but I feel like it's a bit overpriced. Like, I don't know. In pounds, it's like 11 pounds. So I feel like if it was like 6 or 7, I would get it. But yeah, that's something I'm not sure, so I'm not going to be getting now. And then, yeah. So then the thing that, you know, I was really excited when I saw it was the Iyo Okumi, you know, like the whole collection, really. Although I didn't like the covers that much. I thought they were cute, but like, you know, nothing that really caught my eye. But the wigs I thought was so nice. The only thing I'm not a huge fan is that it's the shiny finish. This would have been amazing if they had done it with the like the fabric kind of like finish that they have. Like, I don't know, my Weeks Mega, like I think like the colors one have that. I don't know if it's really fabric or what it is, but it does feel like it. And if they had done that and with the kind of like the details like embroidered, that would have been, oh my god, chef kiss. Maybe it would have been a bit more expensive, but I would have bought it. I mean, I'm gonna buy it anyway. This is the Weeks that I've decided I'm gonna go for. But then I also really like, you know, like the memo pads, the stickers, the pencil boards. I thought they were like really nice too. Here I was like kind of talking again a bit more about like the horizontal notebook and how I was starting to feel like it was calling me. And then I was considering getting some of the, you know, like accessories from the Yumi Kitagishi collection, but I don't know if I will. Like, I like the stickers, but again, it's like, do I like them more than all the stickers I want to get? I'm not sure. So I'm not going to be buying them for now, basically. Then here I was thinking a bit about my lineup, and I was trying to decide between like the Weeks from like Iyo Okumi or the one from Kyohei Sakiguchi. And this is kind of like when I printed them, because I was like, it really helped me to see, okay, these two I was able to like kind of, you know, discard them, decide that they weren't the ones I wanted quite quickly. But then up until the end I was really much like, oh, which one, because I love both. But then when I decided that I wanted to get the horizontal notebook, I was like, okay, I don't want to have like both the same. I don't want like the matchy. And also like it meant that I could enjoy both designs if I got horizontal notebook and this. So that's basically kind of like the main two purchases that I'm gonna be doing. So yeah, in terms of my shopping list, I guess now this kind of like leans quite well into that. But yeah, I'm gonna be getting, I can move this out of the way, I guess. I'm gonna be getting the Kyohei Sakiguchi horizontal notebook, the Iyo Okumi Weeks, and then I had some accessories that I printed to kind of like decide whether I'm gonna be getting them or not. I really like this Ryoji Arai, I'm not sure how you say it, but these folders, I think they're super cute. They're not from this year, but I am gonna be getting them. I'm gonna be getting from the Iyo Okumi collection also the A5 and the Weeks pencil boards, and I'm gonna be getting this kind of like techo, let's see, I don't know if it's focusing, but the little stamps that have like the techo books basically. And I think this is all I'm gonna be getting. I had some other items in my wish list that I might get in the future, but I'm not sure yet. So there's the Iyo Okumi memo pads, the Iyo Okumi stickers, let's put those there, the Yumi Kitagishi stickers, and the Yumi Kitagishi bookmark. But this, I'm still kind of like a bit unsure, so they're not making the cut. Goodbye. So these are the things that I'm gonna be getting. And then because I influenced my sister, she's gonna be getting some stuff too, so I'll maybe just, I didn't print those, but I might put a picture so you can see what she's getting. But she's you know, big fan of One Piece, and like she's gonna be getting the magazine, One Piece magazine Ace, Sabo and Luffy A6 original kind of like cover. I think that cover is so cool. Like I've watched One Piece. I mean, not the whole thing because it's, I don't know how many episodes, 1,000 or more. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I've watched a good chunk of them, but I wouldn't consider myself like a hardcore fan, or like I wouldn't buy maybe like merch from it, even though I enjoy the show. But this cover that she's gonna get, and again I'll put it here on the screen or something, it's so cool. I was saying when I showed it to her, I was like, look, this is the cover that like I almost wish I was more of a fan of One Piece, like a fan to the point that I want, you know, the merch, so I would buy it. So now she's gonna buy it, so I can appreciate it from her, and then she'll get the Hobonichi original book, and then she's gonna get also the I'm not sure how to say the best, Kodomo no Kao Hobonichi Pochito 6 or something, basically like the little stamps from One Piece. I'll put them somewhere on the screen. So that's kind of like the stuff that me and my sister are gonna be getting. So what are you gonna be doing for you know, the Hobonichi launch? Are you gonna be shopping on September 1st? Are you just gonna be shopping later on the year? Are you just going to completely like pass from Hobonichi this year, which totally fine, understandable. I'm looking forward to, like, you know, hear everyone's thoughts, and of course if you've been making any like plans for your 2026 lineup, let me know. But again, let's just approach the 1st of September with, you know, a calm mindset. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon. Bye.